Hello, everybody. It is Talk to Me Tuesday. So, last week we launched for the first Talk to Me Tuesday, and I opened up the conversation and told you guys to let me know what you wanted to talk about and how you wanted to talk about it. I didn't hear a lot about the platform that worked best for people, so please continue to let me know about that because I want it to be the most user friendly for everybody. Um, But I did get a lot of feedback about the topic. And what I'm hearing a lot of is about nutrition. And that makes sense. I'm a nutritionist. So, of course, people are always asking me nutrition questions. So, why not use this Talk to Me Tuesday to talk about nutrition? The center of what I was hearing a lot about was how we can stay our healthiest selves during this time of um, we're heading into flu season, we're facing a pandemic, and all these things that we need to make sure that we're optimizing our health. And we all know that what we feed ourselves is the number one contributor to how healthy our body is going to be. Um, that said, all of this brings a whole lot of stress, the pandemic, the election, like crazy news cycles, remote learning, remote working, all of this is leading to tremendous amounts of stress for people. And what typically happens when people are under stress is they have food cravings for things that aren't necessarily the healthiest foods. Um, and then you also couple that with lack of sleep, that also contributes to a lot of unhealthy food cravings. And then when we try and convince ourselves that we need to make the healthiest choices only, and we don't allow ourselves, when we have that all or nothing mindset and we don't allow any room for the less than healthy options, then our ability to avoid those things becomes weaker and weaker until we find ourselves overindulging in grandiose ways with all of the foods that we shouldn't be having. So, how do we avoid all that? I'm of the mindset that no food should be completely off limits um, unless it is an allergy or due to some other health condition and that you need to avoid that food completely. Um, there are personal choices that you will have convictions for, and then typically those aren't as hard to fight off if you did have a craving because they are firmly held convictions that you have and not just labeling a food as good or bad arbitrarily. And most of the foods that we label as bad are also labeled as reward foods, right? So like you think of a birthday party celebration, and what are the foods that are typically served there? They're all the foods that you tell yourself you can't or shouldn't have. um, so that just makes them more desirable. So how can we make sure that we are staying healthy without completely writing off those foods and without overindulging? So that's the tricky balance, right? I can tell you some things that I do. My hope is that you will, in the comments, provide tips and tricks that you use or ask specific questions that we can all, hop in and help you solve, or we can take those tips and tricks and utilize them for ourselves. So I want this to be more of a back and forth dialogue conversation instead of me just giving you a nutrition lecture, which is fine. I don't mind doing, but I really hope to engage with all of you. So my downfall personally is the salty, crunchy foods. And I know I'm in the minority with that. Not everyone has that. But when I'm under stress, it's always, I'm looking to crunch on something, and my adrenals get tired and they crave that saltiness. So, salty and crunchy is my downfall. So, I try to find things to have in my house that will satisfy that in a healthier way. So, here are the things that I use. I use salted nuts, lightly salted, like peanuts or almonds. Um, those are a go to because they're crunchy. They provide a little bit of salt, but I'm also getting some health benefits from it. Yes, they're high in fat, but that helps to fill me up, right? So if I'm in tune with my body and I'm paying attention to how full I am, then that's not as big a concern for me, the fat and the calories, as long as it's from a healthy source. Um, and, my sodium, I'm lucky in that my blood pressure runs on the lower side. So it's okay for me to have a little bit of sodium once in a while, or a moderate amount of sodium once in a while, to be quite honest with you. Um, so that's one tip that I have. Another is celery. Celery has a very salty flavor, and so I can feel like I'm having some chips and salsa if I have some celery and salsa. And I understand that doesn't do it for everybody. It satisfies me, and it's very low calorie, very healthy option. You're getting a lot of your vegetables in because it's all vegetable based. And I can feel good about having that snack. And I can eat as much as I want. And I can crunch as long as the day is. So that's another one of my go-tos. Most people, when they come to me and they report having these food cravings, um, it's usually sweet based. It's sugar that they're craving. Um, Typically, chocolate for most people, but it can be anything sweet. And there are a lot of biological reasons for that. You know, sugar is an addiction. It has the same addictive properties as cocaine. It creates feel good hormones in your body. Um, it helps you to overcome that stress in that moment. But oftentimes it leaves you feeling much worse, right? Like that sugar hangover is real. And consuming sugar greatly reduces your immune function, like significantly reduces immune function. So we really want to pay attention to that one. If you are craving sweet things, try and see if you can satisfy that with fruit. So maybe trying some baked apples. This is a great time of year for apples, and just baking them with some cinnamon can, there is natural sugars in it, but you're also getting the fiber, and the cinnamon tricks your brain into thinking that it's sweeter than it actually is, and you can feel like you're maybe indulging on something. And combine that maybe with some Greek yogurt, and you'll hopefully get satisfied from that, and you're getting some nutrients in there. In terms of the chocolate cravings, you want to find the healthiest version. Again, it doesn't help anyone to have that, I absolutely cannot have it mindset, because then it's just going to be constantly on your mind until you give in and you know, eat an entire bag of Halloween chocolate candy. So allow yourself to have one small piece of, try and make it as dark a chocolate as possible. Instead of the milk chocolate, opt for a dark chocolate. Um, and really be in that moment. So I think part of the problem with why we overindulge is, first of all, we spend all that time telling ourselves that we can't have it, right? So it builds it up, and it becomes, something naughty in our mind. And because it's something bad that we're not supposed to be doing, we try to tune out while we're doing it, and we don't focus on doing it because we feel like we're doing something bad. So I'm going to ask you to switch that and be fully present in that moment. You know what? Damn it, you wanted that chocolate. Enjoy that chocolate. You deserve that piece of chocolate, right? Fully enjoy that piece of chocolate. Be in that moment, taste it, smell it, feel how it feels in your mouth. How does it make you feel afterwards? Be fully present in enjoying that chocolate. And chances are you're going to be a lot more satisfied than if you pretended like you didn't eat it. Then, maybe your brain is actually going to register it as not having happened, and you're going to continue to crave it. So, Your brain really does play a role in that. It's the same as the serving sizes. If you trick your brain, eat off a smaller plate, you interpret it as eating a bigger meal. So, same idea. Being fully present in that, enjoying that chocolate, don't write it off. That one piece of chocolate isn't going to tank everything. Make good choices for the rest of the day. Um, so, those are my quick little tips for dealing with stress eating during this very stressful time. Let me know if you guys have any tips and tricks or any specific questions under this topic that you want me to talk about, because I'm happy to answer those questions. All right, that's it for our Talk to Me Tuesday, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for our Seed and Weed Wednesday. Bye.